What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. We got a little follow-up video here to my mock draft, starting off the top 10 positional rankings for each position with the 2018 NFL Draft. No opening monologue. Let's get right into it here. Number 1, Sam Darnold. I have him as the best quarterback prospect to come out since Andrew Luck. I see a guy who can make all the throws, athletic guy, and already has plus traits coming in at the quarterback position. What are those plus traits? To me, it's really, honestly, elite level pocket awareness, ability to manipulate the pocket, and the physical ability to do so. Just a natural feel for the pocket, knowing when to step up and throw the ball and when to get out of the pocket when necessary as well, which is actually a big deal for me, knowing when to get out of the pocket. That's a big criticism I have of Marcus Mariota a little bit, but especially what I said about Cam Newton coming off his MVP year when everyone loved the guy. I called out the fact that he is a catapult in the pocket, flat-footed, doesn't have a good feel for when to get out of the pocket when he's dealing with pass rush. He has all the ability to do it, but actually having the natural feel to know when and how to do it is really important. So that is an elite level trait that Sam Darnold has that's going to help him succeed potentially for a Cleveland Browns team that doesn't have any good tackles right now. Being able to maintain confidence despite dealing with a pass rush, which is something that has definitely helped a guy like Carson Wentz, who is my comparison for Sam Darnold. And then the other elite trait I see in Sam Darnold is that innate arm talent. And you hear that word a lot. For me, it's not necessarily just arm strength. It's definitely not just arm strength. Joe Flacco has a lot of arm strength. To me, when I think of arm talent, I think of that true see ball, hit ball ability. You go through your reads, you see what you want, and flip of the wrist, the ball goes right where you need it. It's a combination of arm talent and accuracy, but it also includes the ability to throw on the run. I think that's really important, especially in today's NFL. So I see 2+ traits for Sam Darnold. The questions with him are the decision-making and some footwork questions. I don't necessarily see a big problem with his footwork. As far as the decision-making is concerned, yes, it is a small red flag for me, but the guy's only 20 years old. I thought dealt with a pro-style offense in college, which you're going to see more mistakes when you're asking the quarterback to do more. It's pretty straightforward. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. Everyone wants to play for the guy, seemingly. I think he's going to be able to figure out how not to be Jameis Winston at the next level. So then, number 2, we've got Josh Allen here, and just a reminder, this rating you see here is my own grade scale here. Now, that's basically my Madden rating for the guy coming into the league, and that's why it's good to do these deep dives. I can talk a little bit more about the potential that is kind of hidden in that rating that's in the mock draft. Anyway, Josh Allen, number 2, easily the most polarizing prospect in this class. A lot of people hate Josh Allen. Some people, like me, are much higher on him. Physically, the guy could be, you could argue, the best physical quarterback prospect maybe to ever come out. I mean, he's got a rocket arm, is fast, quick, has everything you want physically in a quarterback. Now, the knocks on him are that he's raw, that his processor is bad, that he's inaccurate. On the accuracy issues, look, I get it. I've seen the guy hit 15-yard outs like nobody's business. I think it's a confidence thing for him. He can hit post. He can really make any throw. He definitely has the see ball, hit ball, natural arm that Sam Darnold has, maybe even more so. I also saw a lot of times really good pocket awareness, sensing pressure when most guys, especially at the college level, are not going to see it coming, extending plays, stepping up in the pocket, that kind of thing. And really, that's the reason I am more optimistic about Josh Allen. Where do I stand on his processor and, game knowledge? The production is a huge concern for a lot of people. I'm not a big production guy. I'm going to really talk about that when I get to Baker Mayfield here. I saw a guy who was really under pressure, pass rush pressure, quite a bit, and a guy that had to attempt a lot of contested throws. Now, how much of his struggles at college was on him? How much was it on the circumstance? That's really where you gotta weigh it. I really do buy the surrounding core argument theory for all quarterbacks across the board. So I don't think Jared Goff is a great quarterback or Matt Ryan. These things matter. And I saw a lot of times just a lot of high difficulty snaps for Josh Allen. that makes it really hard to evaluate his tape, right? You got to project. And that's what I'm doing with him as my number 2 pick. I think he's worth the risk. A lot of people don't, though. And that's fine. I can't say I blame you. It's been a lot of fun with Josh Allen. He's been one of the more polarizing prospects I can remember. Everyone sees something different, seemingly, when you watch his tape. So regardless, I like Josh Allen. I think in the right circumstance, he could turn into a really, really good quarterback. He seriously has the upside of Carson Wentz, Andrew Luck, even in Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to totally rule that out. And then at number 3, we got Josh Rosen. Gonna have a bit of a shorter talk about Rosen because I feel pretty good about what he is. And he's not a bad quarterback prospect. He'd probably be the number 1 pick in a lot of drafts, if I'm going to be honest. I think he is a very, very similar prospect to Jared Goff coming out. And that's why I'm not super high on him. I've already kind of hit on this thing about quarterbacks where I'm very much concerned with surrounding circumstance and how much the system impacts the player's value. And I think Josh Rosen falls into the system's quarterback category, which is not always bad. There's really valuable quarterbacks in this league that are system quarterbacks. You could even argue that Tom Brady, but we won't get into that right now. I think if you take Rosen, you get a pretty safe pick. But the thing is with system quarterbacks is they're actually more prone to bust because they are more dependent on the surrounding circumstance. I think Rosen and Allen, it's more about them, which is kind of an interesting thing to think about that no one ever really talks about. People like to say Rosen's the safe guy. I disagree. I think Rosen needs to go to a team with an offensive line and at least a good, decent receiver and a good play caller. And if you know you have that, then yes, you know what you're getting in Rosen, and therefore it's safe. But if you don't have a good core, it could get ugly fast for Rosen, like it almost happened with Goff before McVay turned everything around. He doesn't create a lot on his own. He's an extension of the coaching staff, just like Jared Goff, just like Matt Ryan. It's not always a bad thing, but when you've got guys who can really come in and be ultimate game-changing quarterbacks, guys with the upside that Sam Darnold and Josh Allen have, that's why I've got Rosen behind those two. I still think he's worth a top 10 pick if you are confident in your core. He's very accurate. He has okay pocket awareness. He has the same thing Jared Goff had coming out, where he will literally take a sack from the strong side, the right side blitzer coming off the edge and take a strip sack without even noticing him. Like he's just glued downfield. I saw it at least once in Rosen, if not more. And that's a huge red flag for me. And that almost just triggers the system quarterback thing for me. Just kind of shows that you're not comfortable when things break down. And then at number 4, we got Baker Mayfield here, who is the guy I took the most flack for in my mock draft video. So let me talk about why I don't love Baker Mayfield. Well, to me, what people like about him seems to be mostly the production. And if you know me for anything, it's that I don't give a rip about stats, wins, production. I just want to watch the film. There's way too many factors, scheme, coaches, skill players, how good's your pass protection, how many injuries do you have? There's way too much stuff that goes into production and stats. They can be useful, but I just don't put a lot of emphasis on that stuff. I look at the film and how guys are going to project going forward. And I also got flack for critiquing the Big 12 and people thinking that I'm just writing him off because it's the Big 12 and calling it a bias. Well, I think there's a lot of truth behind Big 12 football and it not translating. For one, the defenses are a joke. The talent's not there, but the schemes are all over the place. You see 3-3-5, 3-5-3 defenses all over the place. The pressures don't get home, and receivers, for whatever reason, are just constantly running wide open. I can't even watch Big 12 football anymore unless I have to go and watch film on a guy like Baker Mayfield. Just look at the quarterbacks that have come out of the Big 12. I'm going to list all the notable guys since 2010 when the Big 12 really hit this turn. Brandon Weeden, bust. Geno Smith, bust. Bryce Petty, 4th round pick, can't really even play football. Landry Jones, backup for the Steelers, throws 4 picks every time he gets on the field. RG3, one good year with a good team and then a bust. And then we got Patrick Mahomes, who's the best prospect out of these guys, an Aaron Rodgers caliber prospect. Physically, we don't know what's going to happen there. He had a great situation and fit. So I don't love Baker Mayfield, the college prospect. Let's talk about how he translates to the NFL. And this is really why I don't love him, especially if you're talking about a top 5 pick. Now, I think people are going way overboard with I mean, guys, I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers comparisons for Baker Mayfield. Are you kidding me? The arm strength is a third of what Aaron Rodgers has. It's not terrible, but he's also not the athlete. I mean, you can tell on film. I will play several plays here where he's just against a Georgia defense. He can't run away from these guys. A 4.8, 4.40, it shows on film. He will be able to be mobile at the next level, but he's not going to be Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers out here with elite level pocket manipulation and elusiveness to get out and extend plays. I think he'll be much closer to Case Keenum in that regard. Good, not great pocket awareness, and good, not great athleticism to make things happen. Case Keenum is actually my favorite comparison. But if you're taking this guy in the top 3 and in turn passing on prospects like Bradley Chubb or Saquon Barkley, you are expecting him to potentially turn into a top 10 elite franchise quarterback. And how is Baker Mayfield going to get there? Not a great athlete, not a elite arm, really not many plus traits at all in college coming out. So he's going to have to be that gamer, that Tom Brady, Drew Brees type of guy, Phillip Rivers maybe. And I'm just definitely not convinced. Again, coming out of the Big 12, a guy who has all kinds of questions about where his loyalties lie with football and social life. Drew Brees and Tom Brady are in the facilities watching film for 5 hours more than the next guy if possible, but not just watching, but being able to understand and compute how they're going to use what they see to innovate and be above and beyond. That's not Baker Mayfield. What is he? I think he's Case Keenum with a stronger arm, guys. That's all I see here. If he goes to a team like the Giants, maybe, I wouldn't take him at 2, but maybe Pat Shurmur could use him in play-action rollout and take advantage of that ability to get rid of the ball quick in sort of that short to intermediate passing game. I don't think he's ever going to be an elite deep thrower either. So do I hate Baker Mayfield? No, I hate Baker Mayfield in the top 5, where you're basically taking a guy who's a very similar prospect to a guy like Luke Falk, who we'll talk about in a second here. You're just relying on the guy to be a gamer and really understand football and do the right things. So spent a lot of time on Baker there, but I really wanted to focus in on Baker because I wanted to make sure you guys understand why I don't love Baker Mayfield. I know we're getting a little longer than I had hoped here, but I'm glad we got to spend a lot of time on those 4. So we'll speed this up a little bit here. Lamar Jackson 5th. I actually kind of like Lamar. I don't think he should be starting this year. I don't think he should be starting next year. I think he actually ends up going at the end of the first round, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad pick. He's not Michael Vick. He's definitely not Michael Vick. He doesn't have the same arm or the same speed, but he could still turn into Deshaun Watson. I could absolutely see that. No, I think he's pretty inaccurate. I do buy that. But he'll extend plays and make some things happen if he can really settle down with a good team. I like the New Orleans fit, actually, where he could sit and learn how to play some real NFL-style football for a little bit. I think he could come in and actually have a chance to be a pretty good quarterback in this league. I think if you're being safe, you're going to call him Tyrod Taylor as a prospect and his comparison. And then 6th, we've got Luke Falk, who I mentioned his name about Baker Mayfield. He's a gamer kind of guy who you're really taking, I think, at the end of the second round is about where you're taking him, maybe even early second. Always talks about how he models his game after Tom Brady, and you can tell it on film. When the offense is clicking, Luke Falk is a baller, man. He's got good pocket manipulation. He's got a average to above average arm, can make all the throws. He'll throw on the run, but he's inconsistent and definitely going to be more of a systems quarterback. I think I'm actually higher on Falk than a lot of people. I like his game. I think in the right situation, could definitely turn into a starting quarterback in the NFL. And then 7th, I've got Mason Rudolph. I have Joe Flacco as my comparison for him. I like some things about him. He's definitely big and strong, and he's not an idiot. He doesn't make a ton of bad mistakes, but again, it's Big 12 football, a lot of easy throws, but also had a pretty damn good set of receivers there to throw to. So, he shouldn't be starting right away. He should come in and learn some things, get familiar with the pro-style offense. And I think there's upside in this pick. 7 times out of 10, he's probably not going to pan out, but there's definitely the upside there. I think he goes in the late second as well. Really a lot of quarterbacks in this class that are going first, second round, more than we've seen in a long time. Just guys that do have starter upside. And then getting into the last guy in this class that I think has a decent-ish shot of turning into a starter is a guy no one really talks about, and I am pretty high on Kurt Benkert. Now, it's an optimistic projection because his film in the first half against Miami is the best 2 quarters of film that any quarterback in this entire class, maybe in the last 5 years, could put together with a 5-minute footage and hand off to a scout. He looked incredible against Miami, manipulating the pocket, throwing dimes in the pocket, on the run, making quick reads, doing the check down at the right time. So I actually had Kurt Benkert shoot up to like my 4th quarterback, and then really decided, like I should, watch a few more games, and it's just not the same guy. He shows flashes on and off. So there's something there. I think he's probably similar to like Brad Kyle last year. I thought showed flashes as well. But that said, Kurt Benkert, I would take him late 3rd. I think there's a lot of upside there. He's got a really strong arm. He's mobile. Maybe he sits and learns, and 2-3 years from now gets a shot and turns into something like a Jimmy Garoppolo. His tape isn't as consistent and as good, but at his best, he's definitely pretty similar to Jimmy. And then 9th, I got Kyle Lauletta. I like his game, but he's definitely going to deal with the limitations of his body. So I got him at 9. Really smart quarterback, decently mobile. I know he killed it at the Senior Bowl. He's really shooting upboards. Some people have him going in the 2nd, 3rd round. I don't think he's got that upside. I think he's a career backup, but he could be a really good career backup, like a Josh McCown maybe, who's in the league until he's 35. Maybe not Josh McCown. 40 is pretty old for a backup. That's pretty impressive. But there's definitely room in the NFL for Lauletta as a quarterback at the next level. Don't think it's as a starter, though. And then my number 10 quarterback is a guy who I actually spotted pretty early and is now starting to shoot up, Chase Litton. I like his film a lot out of Marshall, so smaller competition, but a really big guy with a good arm. But he moves well in the pocket, which, if you haven't noticed by now, is a big thing for me. Is there's just a feel that certain quarterbacks have in the pocket that you can tell they're comfortable playing quarterback. It doesn't necessarily mean he's got to scramble all the time. It's manipulating it when it's necessary. When you got a guy, 2 guys running contain out of the edge, just that nice little 2-step up. Some college quarterbacks just don't do that. And they'll just stand there, and the edge rushers know exactly where the quarterback's going to be, and they get sacked. So Litton, I think, has a good awareness as a quarterback, has a lot of upside. As a big guy with a decently strong arm. Pretty good release as well. Just a raw prospect that I would probably be looking at around 4th, 5th round, maybe even 6th. So that is my full top 10 quarterback breakdown. If you want to see what I've got written up about all the quarterbacks in this class, as well as every other prospect in this class, it's over 400 players, do check out my Patreon, where you can get access to my draft board, or consider a PayPal donation as well. Those links will be in the description. Hope you enjoyed. Looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback on my quarterback ratings. Cheers, everyone. We'll see you next time.